Welcome back. US Elections Part 2. What a surprise. Surprises are supposed to be nice. So, many people are pleasantly surprised because they wanted Trump to win. Other people, not so surprised because they basically anticipated it. Other people, a little bit upset. Okay, somebody wins, somebody loses. The first thing we have to understand is that, especially in the West, almost all the countries are polarized. 50% right, 50% left, liberal, Democrats, conservatives, fascists. It doesn't matter. The question of polarization is a question of system. This system, you can turn back and start at the beginning. Okay? And it's not Rome. It's God versus the devil. Good versus evil. Wow. God, devil, good, evil. Strange. Exactly. When things are so similar, we begin to understand what is underneath, what is behind the curtain. So, the Western society is based on us, the good, against them, the evil. Our God against their demons. We will go to heaven, everybody will burn in hell. And anyone who doesn't agree with me will burn anyway. Whatever he calls himself, a Catholic, a Christian, or whatever, he will burn because he doesn't agree with me. This has led to a culture of getting power, staying in power. Whatever happens, I have to have power. Because when it's us against them, you don't have power. It's them against you, and they have the power. The whole system is based on us against them. And them, they don't exist. Whatever they are, they don't exist. And everything is polarized, men against women. Number one, this election was about men against women. All the men, the great majority of men voted for Trump. It's a man's club. It's a man's world. It's shocking, but that's how it is. It's called the boys' club. The men think that women don't understand politics, don't understand government, don't understand finance, don't understand war, don't understand numbers. It's a man's game. It's a man's world. What women don't understand, even after 2,500 years of Western civilization, is that there's no place for them in this culture. God is a man. The Pope is a man. The Roman emperors were men. And a man has to be hard, cruel, a badass. And women represent life, humanity, empathy, goodness, niceness, kindness. The Western civilization, or the Western imperialism, they don't like nice, kind, and gentle. They don't like goodness, kindness, gentleness. They like power. And there are only two ways of getting power. One is through war, and we have endless wars over 2,500 years, non-stop wars. And through political propaganda, manipulation, intimidation. Let the games begin. And you buy people's votes. It's a war, it's a battle for the mind and the heart. And it's all indoctrination, propaganda. Everybody wants to be on the winning side, because on the losing side, you lose everything. You lose your job, you lose your future. Power is total. The person who becomes the president or the emperor can do anything. And so in this kind of system, if you're in power, you can do anything. All your criminal cases are put in the drawer. Your past doesn't matter, because now you're the emperor, you're the president. What you did doesn't matter. Your debts, your failures doesn't matter. You are the president. People say, Mr. President, I salute to you. So this culture, this cult of power is what has created this non-stop war, hate, from Argentina to Canada, all the Western world. The French elections, the British elections, now we will have German elections, the Italian elections. It's all the same. It's the right against the left, 50-50. Everyone hates themselves. Everyone does whatever they can to get power and put people down. So it's not a question of Kamala Harris versus Trump. It's a fight for power. And the groups who are supporting one side will do anything to access power, because once they have power, they choose the ambassadors, the businesses that will receive government support, the businesses that will be isolated, the businesses that are favoring other cultures, other countries. Yes, there is a division of power also. You have the Senate and you have the House, the Congress. This over time was created because too much power is infernal. Well, what is the basis of this system? On one side, we can see it as narcissism. I'm great, I'm the best, I'm the greatest, whatever, I'm the only. Everybody else is a barbarian, doesn't exist. And this cult of greatness, it's since the time of Alexander the Great and Caesar, the Emperor, and Napoleon the Great, and all these people who are really not so great. They were assassins and murderers and destroyed the people around them. The story of the people around Alexander, around Caesar, around Napoleon is a horror. But people are not interested in that. They're interested in glory. Alexander's death at 30 years old, losing everything that he for 10 years tried to conquer, but in reality was just a non-stop war. In 6 months it was all over. So he didn't really construct anything. Nor did Napoleon, nor did Caesar. Because after their deaths, there was civil war. Disaster, non-stop, non-ending disaster. After the end of Napoleon, France has never really recovered. So this kind of polarization creates a black hole which takes all the prosperity, all the progress, all the best people, and throws it one against the other. And then they go on foreign wars to gain prestige. It started with Rome. When a Roman senator wanted to have influence over the Roman people, he invented a war, killed innocent people, brought them as slaves, and gave their gold and silver, a little bit, to the people. I'm the greatest. They call this the triumph, returning from a campaign where you kill innocent women and children, just like what's happening in Gaza. Nothing has changed. And the people, oh, bread, gold, coins, we will have games. And you think, is that what it's all about? The next Olympic Games, the World Cup, glory, and who cares about women and children? Who cares about prosperity? Who cares about the future? So this election is just a continuation of everything that has been happening since Rome and even before Rome, us against them, our God against all the other gods who are false, fake. Of course, nobody wants to talk about that. Most people don't even see it. You never see the point of your nose. People can't see. They're stuck in the bubble. People who are born, raised, socialized in this Western culture of us, glory, the best, the greatest, against them, the trash, the rest, the best against the rest, they don't see this. And even most people who come from outside the West, they've already bought into the great American dream. I'm going to be rich and famous. Others, more recently, have been kicked out of their destroyed worlds, destroyed homes, and are just going anywhere to survive. Running away from Afghanistan, from Iraq, from Syria, from Palestine, from Africa, from everywhere, from Central America, trying to find a little bit of peace. And maybe after 10, 20 years, a little bit of prosperity. These people are no one's enemies. They're the victims of non-stop wars and the lust, the quest for power. Yes, this non-stop desire for power, it has many arms, like a hydra. You have political indoctrination, you have religious beliefs and religious indoctrination too. And you have fake events. And people say, oh, they invaded us, so let's attack them. They killed one of our people, so let's kill 1 million of theirs. Fake events are created as excuses for war. This has been going on for thousands and thousands of years. The great, great majority of people have no idea about the system. It's called systemic intelligence. Systemic intelligence. What's the system? When you pull back the curtain, when the fog settles, you relax, you see what the game is really about. It's not about good or evil, right or left, us or them. It's about power, whatever it costs, whatever it takes. And staying in power in the culture of hate is fundamental, because when you're not in power, you're put in jail, your people are fired, you're isolated from opportunities. In the ancient days, women were killed as witches for over 1,000 years. Millions and millions and millions of women in the West. This is a phenomenon restricted to the West, just like racism and wars. And the West is not a woman's world, but the women didn't realize it. When they were being burnt as witches, the other women were accusing them. There is an event called the Salem's Trials, where women were accusing each other. And off to be hanged, off to be burnt. So, what does the election reveal? Men against women. Women all alone. Another problem. For the women, the pre-election debate was about, and it's really sad, but it was about abortion. Really? No one really cares about that, except a few and unfortunate women who were forced to abort or couldn't abort. But mainstream media, mainstream investors, billionaires, banks, corporations, they're not interested in abortion. They're interested in guaranteeing their future, their space, their business facilities, their business contracts. When your side of the government wins, your contracts are maintained. But if the other side wins, you lose everything. So everybody wants to be on the winning side. It's called tilting. So when they find out that this system is better for us, they all get together and vote for the system. It's not about voting for a person. Trump represents the great, the eternal great, the best. And everybody wants to believe that America will be great again and whatever. Nobody really knows what has happened over the last 150 years. Non-stop wars, assassinations. Even in the United States, so many people have been assassinated, so many presidents. Nobody cares about that. Glory to us, the greatest nation on earth. So this is a kind of slogan that gets everybody involved. The greatest nation on earth. We will be great again. Nobody talks about before becoming great, you have to become smart. Good, forget about that. Nobody talks about goodness. But at least you have to be smart and not lose good things that are there. You destroy your environment. When the Europeans arrived in North America, it was a wonderful environment, unpolluted, enormous, with many treasures, commodities, gold, petroleum, etc. It's basically been destroyed in the last 150 years. Since the 1850s, the American Civil War, the March to the West, insatiable appetite, and wars from the Philippines to Cuba, from all over the world, Central America, the Middle East, Asia, warmongering. And it's not just Trump. All the American presidents, the whole system is based on this. So we have a rejection of this war system because people associate Kamala with Bidenomics and Biden political regime, which is all help to Israel, all help to Ukraine, none of which was a very, very good idea. The whole world has turned against America. Millions and millions of innocent people have been killed. Since September 11th, 2001, we have had wars in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Syria, all over. It's been terrible. Why? For power. Putting people against each other. Having millions of homeless refugees walking around the world in horrible winters, no food, no security, families separated. For power. For desert. These things are not questioned or discussed. What is discussed is who won the election, who won. The truth is, everyone is losing, has lost, has been losing for hundreds of years. This is the truth. But people are so fixated. It's like power is the drug with the most power. Power gives you crazy power, makes you limitless. So this whole concept of we are winning, we are the greatest, we won the elections, it makes people possessed. You can't talk to them. The time for having an intelligent conversation ended maybe 2,000 years ago. Since then, there are no intelligent conversations. There are no normal people anymore. It's on one side or the other side. It's war. We are the best. Kill everybody. And weapons, weapons, weapons. The arms trade. And money laundering of the drugs trade, which everybody is, it's okay. The whole world is contaminated with the drug trade. And money laundering is what's keeping the system alive. Where is the money coming from to fund the wars? It's not coming from businesses. They're all broke. People know that around 70% of the Dow Jones are zombie corporations. They're broke. They have no money. They borrow money to pay the loans. They borrow money. The whole West is buried in loans. There's no prosperity. So what has happened? Whether one person or the other person wins the election in France, in Italy, in the United States, the rest of the world have moved to the global south, to the new world of BRICS. They have decided to join another civilization, another culture where it's not about invading your countries. It's about giving everyone an opportunity to access credit, to access markets, to access knowledge, to get on. All the millions of women and children whose husbands were killed in nonsensical wars, endless wars, from Central America to Africa to the Middle East to Eastern Europe. These women and children are all alone. Somebody has to help them. And it's not on Trump's agenda, nor on any other government's agenda. So we have a situation where on one side it's politics, it's propaganda, it's TV, ads, hate. The other side, maybe 80% of the world trying to survive. And these people are not saying we're the best, we're the greatest. They're just asking for a little bit of opportunity, a little bit of help. Because their homes, their worlds, their countries were destroyed by whom? By the West. So this is the truth about the election. It's not about celebrating who won. The system is a pyramidal system. The person who gets to the top has the power to dominate everybody under the pyramid. So we have this never-ending hate, war, intrigue to gain power. But what is the result? Let's look at economics. Let's look at statistics. Let's look at prosperity. Let's look at wellness. We have more and more misery, poverty, more and more unemployment, more and more displaced young men who are assimilated into the militias, into the drug cartels, into the armies. What is their alternative? They have to survive. Today, a lot of young African men, instead of walking over the desert to Europe, they are being recruited as mercenaries for the Russian armies. They have to survive. Just like the Europeans recruited the ex-Nazi soldiers after the Second World War. The French Foreign Legion was full of ex-Nazi combatants. If these young men had an opportunity to study, to get a job, to have families, I'm sure most of them would love it. Because living in war conditions in Ukraine, 15 below zero, as a mercenary, knowing that sooner or later you're going to die. So over the last thousands of years, the young men are either in prisons or at war or taken out of prisons and put into uniforms and going to some war somewhere. The British Empire was built on this. They were afraid of the dangerous classes, the masses that would have a civil war and kill them. So they invented a war and sent them to India, to Australia, to South Africa, anywhere. Get rid of them because they're going to kill us. There's going to be another civil war, an uprising. So the situation is very, very, very complex. The truth is very, very cruel, very dangerous. But this is behind the mask, what has been going on. Now, finalizing. A part of my channel is about informing. It's not just about enlightenment, education, humor, entertainment. It's also about information. And I see it as one of my obligations that I should share the truth and help people access the truth. It's not a question of my opinion is I'm for, I'm against, and this is good, this is bad. Investigate with intelligence. Find out what has been happening since Rome. What is the system in which all of this is happening? It's called systemic intelligence. Begin to analyze systems. The pyramid is a system. The king, the emperor, the king, the lords, the merchants, and everybody else, and then people who don't exist. So this system is dominating and has spread everywhere. The people in power do everything to stay in power. Billions and billions of dollars are spent in elections. Money should be spent not in guns to kill each other or elections, and all the pamphlets are thrown in the rubbish. Money should be spent to help people become intelligent, become educated, become competent, so they can have a job, so they can sustain a life, so they can aggregate value, so they can be of use, so they can have families and sustain these families. This is the right thing to do. Not to accuse other people of horrible things, blaming and threatening and invading. That's not the right thing to do. How many people are saying what I am saying? Everybody's for or against, I'm this and that, whatever. Why don't people open their minds and open their hearts and see it as it is and tell it as it is? It's not a question of a new war against the other war, more wars. No, we have to end wars. And begin again in a different direction, not in a new direction of another war. There's a saying in the art of war. People are still fighting the last war. People are still at war, in a war situation. They're veterans of non-stop wars at home, at the company, with government policies. We have to begin a new era of creating a system where people have a chance to having a life, where people have a real opportunity, and the people are not lied to and manipulated and thrown into jails or wars and used and abused for 20, 30 years. That is why I see the YouTube as something very, very important. Because through the internet, through YouTube, we can help people think. We can access billions of people and give them information so that they can start investing with intelligence, investigating with intelligence, living with intelligence, discovering with intelligence, and becoming smarter and better. So we spent some time traveling, globe-trotting, and we found out that nothing has really changed. People change clothes, but the system is the same. Don't forget to subscribe. We will have many interesting topics to discuss. And remember, my job here, my idea is to help you get smarter and get better. Thank you for watching.